truly was a very bad storm here, and I'm going to give you some perspective on that here. Both from the winds and from the hail. From the wind perspective, very powerful straight line winds. From the hail perspective, this is not an area of the country that you think of getting this really large hail. So that's the area that we're watching. There's Rock Hill. There's the thunderstorm that was coming through. We can put it in the 3D so you can see just how tall and strong this thunderstorm was here, extending well up into the atmosphere, went right over Rock Hill. And a thunderstorm like this, a supercell like this, has the capability to hold on to hailstones inside to grow very large. And that's what happened here. Just inside that storm, we had some intense hail. Now, was it record breaking? The state record is 4.5 inches. That was in the year 2000. The largest hail on Saturday was 4 inches in Rock Hill. So yes, it's close, but it actually is not a record, but it's up there in the upper echelon. And again, this is not an area of the country that you think of for that large hail. That's more like in Oklahoma or Texas. See, we're expanding out across the Mississippi Valley. But while, obviously it can happen, we just saw it and we've seen, something slightly larger before, it's not the area that you most often think of. We do actually have the chance for some hail in the area that you would expect the very large hail today. We're watching a zone right here across parts of West Texas, up into the Panhandle. This is where we could see that 2-inch size or greater hail. Again, remember what happened in Rock Hill in North Carolina was that 4-inch hail. That's possible today. 2-inch size or greater is the risk area that we are looking at. And what's going to be happening here is that we're going to have a new area of low pressure developing. The hail parameter, this area in purple, showing us where that's sort of the likely zone for it. And there's not going to be a lot of storms, but there's going to be a few. And any one of them have that potential to grow to get that strength, that strength in an updraft, which could allow that kind of hail to form here. You got to have side of this and how temperatures are going to go up and down this week and then end up going up. For Boston, we are sitting at 39 degrees as our coldest number this morning. Burlington dropped to 33. Look at Richmond, look at Raleigh, look at Asheville, 34. So it actually was even cooler a little further to the south as that high pressure really settled in here. We are going to be watching for a brief warm up ahead of this next front, and then behind it, that's when we get the cold air that comes in here maybe one last time. Well, I won't say last time for the season, but for a while anyway. So we look at the numbers tonight. Marquette, Duluth, you're going to be in the 20s. That's the air that's going to be swinging into the northeast. In the south today, you're warming up more than you have the past couple. A lot of 70s back here all across the deep south. Really a very nice day for most of you. Temperatures warming back up. It's not really, it was too humid just yet. And as we get you through the weekend, we're going to see the jet stream building into more of a ridge. That's going to send the numbers even higher on the thermometer here. But with the pattern in place, you'll start to feel that sort of humidity rise as well. Temperatures by Sunday, we're going into the 80s. We're going to be about 10 degrees above average across a lot of the eastern half of the country. When you look and see how it evolves, tomorrow 21 million above average, Friday 72 million above average, and by Sunday 171 million people above average here. It's a lot of the eastern half of the country. And in the south and east, where maybe you're just close to average, you're warm. I mean, look at Columbus, Ohio. We're going to 83. Your average is 67. So things are really warming up as we get through this week here. And there's a trend that's going to play out in so many places, including New York City, which I think the key thing about this forecast, guys, is that not only does it warm up, but it dries out. No rain. Warm and dry for the weekend.
Double bonus.
It is a bonus. Yeah, it's a good weekend coming up. Well, a lot of cheers out there, too, as this is sort of the upper echelon of storms for us here. Very strong winds, very strong straight line winds came out of the storm, and also that very large hail. Here's the storm cell that did it, the supercell that moved through again to south of Charlotte, going right towards Rock Hill right there. It extended tall up into the atmosphere, and this was the kind of storm that had the ability to sustain a very strong updraft that allowed the hail to grow to such a large size. We had hail 4-inch in diameter here. And you might be wondering, is that a record? Well, the record for the state in South Carolina is 4.5 in 2000. The largest hail that we had was 4 inches. So close to the record, not quite, though, the record-breaking hail. Needless to say, though, you're close to it. This is not the area of the country that you would expect to get that kind of big hail, right? That's actually more traditionally in Oklahoma, in northern Texas. Not to say it can't happen, but it's not the spot that you would expect. The spot that you would expect turns out to have a risk for hail starting today, and it actually expands over the next several days. Today's risk area is across the Texas Panhandle, maybe extending up into Oklahoma. This is where we could see that 2-inch size or greater hail hail. And again, that could do some damage. That puts big dents in your car. That could do some roof shingle damage as well. If there's wind with the storm, that can create some shingle damage or some siding damage on your house. Now, the background color, the purple, is the hail parameter showing us where it's possible. Storms are going to be isolated starting this afternoon, but moving into that atmosphere that has that potential to create thunderstorms that could create hail. So this is something that we have to watch out for and think about the kind of storms that we could be working with across the area today to get the kind of hail like we saw in Rock Hill, like we could see over the next few days here across the plains. You have to have a really strong updraft. When you get 3-inch teacup size hail or 4-inch softball size hail, you would have an updraft with winds of 85 to 100